This video is sponsored by PCBWay. Hello my goblins and ghouls, my name is Steven. As many of you know, I bought a house within the past few months, and this is my shop. It is a completely separate building from my house. The first floor is like an entire 2-car garage worth of space, and then the top floor is actually a 2-car garage. I've been dealing with not having a full proper shop for the past like 4 months or so, and it's finally time to take this bottom space and turn it into a proper, legitimate workshop. Heck yeah. It's gonna be so good. We're gonna get it clean and get it all fitted out with tables and machines and stuff. It's gonna be awesome. In we go. All right, so as you can see, it's really dark in here. It's super echoey. It's musty, it's grimy. Before I bought this place, it was just being used as like cold storage. That means it's gonna need full lighting mounted on the ceilings. It's gonna need electricity routed through the whole thing. I need to power wash the entire inside of it to get it clean and ready for paint, which then comes later. Then a whole bunch of tables and workbenches and all kinds of stuff that's gonna fit inside here. So it's actually gonna be like a truly usable workshop. Now, as the index design comes together and it gets more validated, and I'm starting to think about making kits, the upstairs 2 garages is gonna become a little factory. So there will be a later video where I go through and figure out how that's going to work, how I'm gonna turn a 2-car garage into a tiny little mid-scale manufacturing factory, but that's for a later video. This one, we're getting the shop all set up, super nice. I can't wait for this to be a good shop. So the first thing I have to do is get all of the stuff that's in here right now, which is just a few little shop things, get them out of here so I can come in with a pressure washer and take care of business. It's gonna be so good. I can't wait. I can't wait. Let's get to it. After employing the help of my 3 identical brothers, the shop was completely empty. It's a dark, dingy cinder block cube. Some of the grout is a bit crumbly, the floor is super grimy, and in some places it gets wet when it rains outside. But I see a diamond in the rough. It'll be a beautiful shop with a bit of polish, but it needs a good cleaning before absolutely anything else happens. Power washing is usually incredibly fun, but for this job, it was honestly pretty unsatisfying. All surfaces were dirty and dusty to some degree, but the color of the material underneath was exactly the same, so it looks identical. The floor of the shop is severely sloped towards the drain, which is helpful for removing all the water from pressure washing and ensures that a flood never happens, but it was an absolute pain in the tuchus when it comes to leveling furniture. After the shop is empty and clean, it's time to work on the walls. My girlfriend Jaden and I went to Home Depot to get some supplies. So Jaden, what are we going to do right now? Where are we going?
We're going to Home Depot.
And what are we getting at Home Depot?
Paint. It's gonna be great.
We have to get like 3 different kinds of like primer crap to go into the concrete to get it to seal so it's waterproof. And it doesn't like leach out through the paint, like make it all like kind of bubble up and crap. And then some primer, which is like elasticy, so if stuff moves, it won't like crack the paint. I don't know about finishing the floor, honestly, because I don't know. I think if we're gonna do it, it should be one of those like epoxy pour things.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do that like at least right now. So it might be nice to put down a drop cloth, like you said, and just have it be, you know, not getting all over the place.
Definitely.
After a bit of Googling and reading some labels, we settled on this stuff. It's a primer meant for use on unpainted concrete. It keeps out moisture, plus the gray color is the exact color I was going to paint the shop anyway, so we can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Great. So 2 of these, 1 of these?
Yeah.
2 was not enough. We also picked up some caulking sealant to fill any large cracks or voids in the wall. We thought this would be quick, but it took way longer than we expected to get them all patched. I highly recommend doing this if you're finishing a bare concrete wall though, as it made the finished product so much better. Next up was paint.
Do you have a drill?
I do have a drill.
We should just make an attachment out of this and drill it. Like,
ooh. Painting also went pretty slow. The walls were incredibly porous and would soak up the paint like a sponge. Apparently this is exactly what should be happening according to the label on the can, but it took a lot of paint to finish the job and 2 full beefy coats around the entire space to do it right. This footage is only from the first evening, but it took multiple days and 3 friends to help me finish. Thank you to Alex and Diana for helping me do the last coat. Now, the shop is clean and painted, it's time to fill it up. This shop will be used for index R&D, validation tests, jig production, and maybe some stock storage. So I got some packing tables that are deep enough to hold an index, extra shelves for the tables to hold tools and equipment, and some shelving with attached lid crates to hold supplies. My buddy Lucian and I got to work assembling all the furniture and moving it into position. Lucian joined Index Machines recently, helping with manufacturing and supply chain stuff as we get closer to having kits and parts available. I'll have some more news about that in an upcoming video. We put together 3 packing tables and 2 shelving units. Already I'm feeling like I'm gonna need at least 1 more shelving unit in this space, and 3 packing tables feels about right, especially with the 2 Patreon benches in there as well. But I'll only know for sure after I've used the space for a while and I kinda get a feel for how things are working out. With shelves and tables in place, I started bringing all my tools and equipment into the shop and finding homes for everything. I fully expect that things will change as I use the space, so for that reason, I'm not creating any holders or jigs to mount anything right now. Just like a desire path, I'll notice my behaviors as I work and form the space to work around that. And that's it. Now a tour of... Oh, wait. Hold on. Heck yeah. The folks over at Carbide 3D very generously sent me a Shapeoko 4 XXL, their newest machine. Lucian and I, mostly Lucian, put this beast together and got it up and running super easily. We found some scrap ply and Lucian got going on the cam for an Index Machines logo plaque. Alright, you ready?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Okay.
Watching the toolpath was freaking mesmerizing. I'm pretty sure I stood there for the full hour and 20-minute job just watching it go.
Check it out. Plywood had some QC issues.
Yeah, it's kind of a lot.
Yeah, have fun fondling that.
Yeah, no thank you. We gave it a bit of paint and mounted it up on the door. I am super excited about having this machine in my arsenal. There is so much I want to do with it and a ton I think it can do to help get the Index off the ground. Thank you so much to the Carbide 3D team for sending this beaut my way. And now, the tour. And here it is. The one big thing that's still left to do is make it not so unbelievably echoey in here. I have some sound panels coming in. They're on the way. I just didn't quite have time to put them up yet, but I'm hoping that they will reduce some of this just unbelievable echo going on. The sound in here while running the CNC is unbelievable. But it's in really good shape. I am so happy. I'm so satisfied with this shop. I'm gonna give you a quick look around. So after coming in through the front door, there's a little welding station. I've got a cheapy little MIG that does both flux core and gas, and I don't really need to do too much welding, but when I do here or there, it's nice to have a good MIG. In high school, I had a welder that was made out of 2 microwave oven transformers that I rewired into a stick welder, and that's what I learned how to weld on. So this thing is an absolute dream to use in comparison to that. I'm probably gonna route a really shallow cut into the surface of this table and mount a really thin piece of steel that has a bolt coming out the bottom that my negative terminal is just clamped onto permanently. What this will do is let me put any piece of metal I want to on that surface that's flush with the tabletop, and it's automatically connected to the welder. I can weld right to it, no problem. No need to clamp a grounding clamp onto it. Colin Furs has a similar setup, and when I saw that he did that, I fell in love with the idea, so I want to do the same thing here. Continuing on along this wall is just a lot of table space for being able to work on lifetime testing for the Index and validation tests and having place for them to just run long-term tests. And then we have the Patreon benches. Right now I just have a bandsaw and a belt sander on here, but all like tabletop tools like a drill press I'm working on getting my hands on, keeping my eye out on Craigslist for a spicy one, and a little desktop milling machine like one of the hand crank things that you can get from tinymachineshop.com. These benches I got from Home Depot for like 80 bucks a pop. They fold out, they're pre-built for you, they're awesome little things, but they're kind of shallow, so they're perfect for holding tabletop tools, but not quite as ideal as a really deep packing table from Uline for actually doing work. So these will probably be holding a lot of desktop tools. Ah yes, very nice. Then as we walk through the beams, in the far back corner, we got some storage. I have a couple shelves for old project boxes. I use the Soylent boxes because I had a ton of them a couple years ago, and they're a perfect size for holding a moderate sized project leftover parts. And then I also have some old Soylent boxes that hold old revisions of Index things that I just keep for posterity and for reference. Then I have a lot of other generic shop stock like weird tools, stuff to hack, gears, sprockets, pneumatic stuff, PCB etching stuff, my whole filament extrusion kit with the fill extruder and the blender, and all my like loose filament and plastic plastic that I can use to shred up and put into the machine, along with a whole bunch of ALCs for holding big stuff, like some are holding paint and chemical-y kind of things. So really nice to just have a big rack off the floor holding all my stock. Then continuing along this wall, we have yet another packing table with a very big lamp on it. And then the crown jewel of the shop, the Repo. And that's it. You follow along this last wall and bam, front door. So yeah, there you have it, folks. That's how I turned my dungy old little cube of a storage hut into a pretty usable, well-lit, nicely painted shop. I'm about it. I'm about it. I still need to like route proper electricity and not just use extension cords because there's only a few plugs in this place and I need a lot more. The soundproofing needs to go up. Yeah, it's ugly in here. I need sound dampening. I'm still not completely set on this layout of benches and I need to figure out what's gonna work well. As I start using it for things and start to see what becomes useful in terms of table space and where my tools are put, this is all gonna change quite a bit, I'm sure. I also definitely need a tool cart because right now all of my tools are just on the bottom rack of some of the packing tables. I'm kinda terrified of drilling holes into the walls of this thing because above this is a 2-car garage. So drilling holes in anything concrete scares the heck out of me. But I do need to find some way to put my tools up somehow in some easily accessible place. Maybe that's a tool rack, maybe that's mounting pegboard up. I gotta figure it out. Lots to discover, lots to come to conclusions on. But in the meantime, it's a great setup. I am so excited. Well, that's it for this one. I want to give a huge thanks to my girlfriend Jaden and my friends Alex, Diana, and Lucian for helping me get all this stuff set up. It was a tremendous amount of work, so thank you guys so much. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. But before I go, I want to thank this video sponsor, PCBWay. PCBWay has been making all the boards for this project, and they have always come out absolutely beautiful. As I record this, I actually have some betas of the Rev 3 motherboard in the mail on their way to me right now. If you get their green solder mask and 2-layer boards, they come in a week from the time you place the order to the time that you get them at your door. I usually like to get the matte black with the gold finish because it looks really nice. And even then, it only adds like a day or two to production. They come super quick. An engineer goes through and reviews every PCB before they actually put it into production, so you know you have another set of eyes looking at your design, checking to make sure everything looks at least kind of sensible. They have definitely caught mistakes I've made before, which has saved me a ton of time. If you're looking for a board shop, I highly recommend PCBWay. Thank you so much to PCBWay for sponsoring this video.
Oh, I mean, darn.
Demonetized. I can bleep it. You can say whatever the you want. I'll just bleep it out.